Today we're going to talk about something off the beaten path. I'm talking about middle-aged dating. Ladies and gents, welcome back in to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. Today we're going to talk about something off the beaten path. Something that I have never directly addressed, but what I think is very necessary to be addressed. And that is this concept of dating. More particularly, I'm talking about middle-aged dating. It's a different world and a different ball game than dating when you're a teenager or a young adult in college. Totally a different game. I'm talking about middle-aged dating. I've been through that period of time. Others who I know also have as well. It can be a very trying situation. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible and to give you at least a few pointers as to which direction might be the best to look at and which you should avoid. In my opinion, the preferred way is to meet people in your everyday life. That means that literally the whole world is your inventory. Unlimited, unless the people are married or have an engagement ring. That's a whole different matter, and obviously you stay away from them. But when you have the ability to talk to people, strike up a conversation, find something in common with the situation that you're in with them, for example. It could be a grocery store, as an example, or a store, a clothing store. That is the preferred way. But why do I say that? As I said, number one, your inventory is unlimited. And number two, there is no interference from an outside source, like people who want to introduce you or a dating site. It's simply you and the person. And nobody has to know about it. So it's private as well. You have to be a good conversationalist as well. That's very, very important. I have a video about the art of conversation, which I recommend that you review. Now, there is a subset of the world at large, and that is people at work. I used to be very strict on that by saying, no way, don't date people at work. However, as time has gone on, I have modified that some, in that I think that it's very important to not to miss any chances. And if you think that someone might be good for you, then why let it pass? However, do not ask them out right away. Observe their behavior. Observe how they interact with fellow employees. Observe how they interact with bosses and also people who are under them in the totem pole of employment. And then maybe you'll get a better idea. Talk to them as much as you can so you get a good feel for who they are. I think that's the best way in terms of the world at large because, again, it's private. It's an unlimited source of possible candidates. It's better if you can do it that way. Now, many people cannot do it that way for a variety of reasons. Another possibility is, and let me see, I'm going to check my notes because I don't want to miss anything. Yes, clubs, courses, and classes. By definition, if you're in a certain club or taking a certain course, you already have something in common with all of those in that group. And that's a great place to start a conversation. And that's why I say it's a good way of doing it. I've started conversations with many people, and it's very easy to do because you're talking about the teacher. The teacher is maybe is not the best teacher, and they're focusing more on book work than on conversation, especially when you're learning a foreign language. And there are many things that you already have in common and can start up a conversation. It's just easier that way. It's a good way, it's a natural way, and it's something that I like. It could be an adult course in the evening. It could be something, a class that you have at your religious institutions. It could be a club of interest that you found online. Any of those or even others where there's already something in common. Tremendous advantage for you to already have that going for you. And then there are other ways as well. There are personal introductions. Now here we're starting with the intermediary, which I don't particularly favor for a number of reasons. This means somebody who you know, a friend hopefully, introduces you to someone they think might be good for you. But the problem is, at least in my experience, they know what my preferences are in terms of personality, in terms of looks, in terms of just all around general conversational ability, educational level, intelligence. They know that, and yet they introduce me to someone who has just totally the opposite. For example, let's say I prefer brunettes. Invariably, they'll introduce me to a blonde. I don't know why that is, other than the fact that their inventory is limited. So there you're depending on a middleman, so to speak. And I like to avoid that if possible. Also, some people don't want to even get involved in introducing you to other people because they don't want any blowback. Well, how was your date? Oh, it was terrible, or it was great, whatever. They just want to introduce you, and just it's up to the two adults, and that's the way it should be. Unfortunately, many people seem to want to get nosy and think that because they introduced you to someone that they have the right to then interrogate you as to how it went or didn't go. Then we have other ways, which are, in my opinion, lower level ways. The first is online dating. Online dating has a lot of pitfalls. The premise of online dating is tremendous. Think about it. You're going to meet people there who you would never meet in your everyday life. The problem is how people use it and the dishonesty of people, or the inability of people to show you through their writing and their profiles and their photos who they really are. I've seen profiles that are years and years out of date. I've been in situations where I meet somebody and I cannot believe it's even the same person that I saw in the photo, and I would swear that it's a different person. They may write profiles that don't really tell you anything, and after a while they all start looking alike. Everybody wants the same thing. So that may not be the best way either. Then you have for-profit singles activities. In years past, there used to be a great deal of non-profit singles activities, but for some reason they've just vanished. I think that the online market has totally demolished any possibility of these types of introductions through, or not introductions, of meetings where you have single people through a non-profit. I just don't even see it anymore. But I think that these are highly variable. Many that I have attended in the past have not been up to snuff for a variety of reasons. They don't appear to be well planned. The competency is questionable. They draw a type of personality and clientele that is just not what you're looking for. And that, I don't want to go into all the details of that, but the bottom line is it's not what you're looking for. So you have to understand that there are various levels of meeting people to begin dating. Some are better than others. I suggest that you try them. You don't have to take my word for it. Remember, these are my opinions only. Then we have issues about married people versus single people. This is a conversation that has to be introduced at this point. Married people are living in a different world than single people. It's just that simple. It's as if they cannot relate to being single. Even if they were single at one time, maybe 3 years ago they were single, but then they found someone. Now they've already moved on to the other side. Now they're in the married group, and they can't relate. And this is not to say it's not a knock on them, but you want to get somebody with whom you can relate. Singles with singles, married with married. It's just the way it is. Oftentimes their friends are married as well, so they're just out of the singles market, and they really may not have a good grasp on what's going on at this point in time. One of the statements that they often make is, "Oh, it'll happen when you least expect it." Well, that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me at all. It's almost like a throwaway line. It's just to say, well, it'll happen when you least expect it. That's not the way I look at things. I want to do what I can do to maximize my chances of meeting somebody, whether it be at school, whether it be at a class, whether it be at work, whether it be talking to somebody on the bus, whatever. I want to take as much charge of that as I can, not wait for it'll happen when you least expect it. That doesn't help me at all. That type of advice, forget it. I would never say that. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I remind you, Drink! And drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time!